Hello, and welcome to Framingham Now. I'm Jack Patrick Lewis, State Representative for the majority of South Framingham, some of North Framingham, and the entire town of Ashland. On this program, we talk with elected officials, community leaders, and area activists about the current political landscape in Framingham and the future of the town that many of us call home. As you likely know, this fall, Framingham will be voting on new local leaders as part of its journey to become a city. This fall, we will be selecting a mayor and a city council. On today's program, I will be interviewing two of the declared candidates running to become Framingham's first mayor. There are 7 candidates who have declared themselves, and I have invited each of them to be on this show. They will all appear on the September ballot. At that time, you will have a chance to narrow the field down to 2. All questions for all the candidates have been shared in advance in order to keep this conversation as fair and equitable as possible. My first guest today is Priscila Sousa. Priscila, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show.
So excited to be talking to mayoral candidates. As I just said, in September, we will be narrowing down the field of 7 declared candidates to 2. And then moving on to November, Framingham residents will be selecting the first mayor of the soon-to-be formed city of Framingham.
Indeed.
And so I know you've been out there in the community knocking on doors. I've seen you at multiple events. But for folks who haven't had a chance to meet you yet, why don't we start with the question, who are you and why are you running?
My name is Priscila. I am a decades-long resident here in Framingham. I am a commissioner in the Human Relations Commission in Framingham. And I'm a local professional. I have roots down here. I'm an immigrant, a Brazilian immigrant. Strong roots in the local business community, and I've a professional with an array of experiences that bring me real-world experience to the job of mayor.
Excellent. And if elected, I'm sure you have a whole host of priorities, and maybe you can take some time today to share those with folks.
Of course.
So where should we start? Education, infrastructure, taxes, you choose.
Well, actually, my day one priority is to steer this transition in a manner that provides positive impact to the people of Framingham. We've got the first mayor of Framingham has their work cut out for them.
That they do.
But they will be nominating over 160 positions. And it's imperative that we transmit security and stability to the people of Framingham throughout this. So that's my day one, number one. Other things I'm passionate about is education. I think it's the soundest investment that a community can make in its future. Fostering a strong relationship with our local businesses, opening up a space for us to start discussing sustainable, cost-effective alternatives in municipal projects and things of the sort. But you know, my day one, number one priority is to ensure a smooth transition, to set precedent for the new city of Framingham.
Excellent. So you had a chance to talk about education. How about some of the other issues you're hearing on the doors that you think will be a part of your strategy, your day one priorities, in addition to a transition that goes well and is a welcoming new body of 160 or so assigned people? What are some of the other items that you're really hoping to put your focus on those first couple months?
Well, a lot of people want to feel want a stronger community relationship with the municipal government. They want to feel municipal pride. And be able to feel that they're in Framingham, their voices are heard, their contributions matter. And that's something that I myself am very passionate about. That means different things to different people. But the common thread in all the conversations that I've had is that they want to feel like they have some skin in the game.
And I'm sure one of the things Framingham's a huge town, soon to be a city. But there are diverse communities within town, the communities within communities, and you can be in far north Framingham, the town border there, and you go in far south Framingham and the Ashland border, and realize that, yes, there are probably common threads of things people are concerned about, education being among them. But one of the things I'm hopeful our first mayor is going to be able to do is be mayor for everybody in the entire town, soon-to-be city. Can you talk a little bit of how you might be able to make that happen if you were to be elected our first mayor? Unite the town from south, north, east, west.
Well, I think that it all starts with positioning the municipal government as a hub where everybody can come together. If everybody's voices are heard, then we can start having productive conversations where we can share our concerns with each other and maybe create a greater culture of empathy. I think great communication is a fantastic way to start. And if we, as leaders in the municipal government, can foster these types of communications, we can start uniting Framingham. You know, we stop looking at Framingham as North, South, District 1, District 8, District 9. We see each other as people, all residents of this great, fabulous, amazing city.
Excellent. So that's actually a great transition to a question I try to ask everyone running for a position in Framingham. Since getting elected last November, one of the communities that I've heard from the most is the local immigrant community.
Yes.
People that add to the vibrancy of this town that we have decided to call home and continue to make home. But the current political landscape in Washington has led to uncertainty is an understatement. And so I'm curious, as somebody running to be the next mayor of Framingham, you will have not just a voice at the table, but your beliefs on how to best welcome all communities or any community are going to be of paramount importance. So I'm curious, as a candidate for mayor, what you think the town could be doing more of or should be doing more of to welcome and celebrate the diverse communities contained within it, but specifically the immigrant communities.
Yes, of course. I believe that providing security or transmitting that sentiment of security to the immigrant community is very important. And I believe personally it starts with providing adequate support to our local law enforcement, our officers, so that they can position themselves as allies to the immigrant community, where we want to get to a point where in Framingham where we don't have families that are afraid to seek help if they're in danger. And we want to be able to see municipal agencies as friend and not foe. We don't think that, it is my sincerest belief that if somebody is here working, contributing to our community, they should not be living in fear.
And unfortunately that's the reality of so many people, as you know, living in our community, and even hearing stories of my kids' classmates and the fear that they have that they may go home and their parent might not be there, and the fear that parents have that when they go to pick up their kid from the bus stop that they might not be alone there, and that their world could be turned upside down at any moment. And what I've been trying to do is to help to mitigate some of that fear, help people to know their rights, to make sure that we're united and we're leaning on each other. But I have a vested interest in making sure that our next mayor is aware and is willing to put themselves out there to have these conversations. So I appreciate you joining what will be the other 6 candidates in having these conversations. And
of course,
as you run towards September, people won't be shy about continuing to ask you about what you're going to be able to do on so many fronts.
Exactly. I'm very excited about that. As a member of the Brazilian community, I have seen firsthand the impact, of families being torn apart in the immigrant community. So it is devastating. It's something that is very much in the forefront of my mind.
Excellent. So I want to just go back a little bit, your priorities. You had mentioned education. Any thoughts on what Framingham could be doing? I have 3 kids in the Framingham Public Schools. I think they're doing a great job, but there's always room for improvement on every front. Anything specifically about education you think that as mayor you may be able to make some improvements on? Well,
one thing I've heard from a lot of residents as we're knocking on doors is people are very apprehensive about special education here in Framingham and all the cuts that have been made. We do understand that all of a sudden we have this adversarial relationship with Washington as far as funding goes, and we don't have an advocate there that we really feel is looking out for us. Yes. So my priorities is ensuring that departments are well funded so that we can provide the best possible chance for Framingham. I know Framingham has very strong, our schools are very, very strong, and I want to keep them that way. I don't want to see our interventionists and our special educations having to educate our kids and with the worry of job security and department security.
That makes sense. You mentioned knocking on doors. How's that process? I remember it fondly from spending all of last year doing it myself, and I'm happy to leave it to you. Not endorsing any candidates running for mayor or running for city council means that I'm not able to accompany any of you door knocking and take the year off from waking up babies and interrupting dinners. But how's that experience been going for you? Have you found people receptive and eager to talk about the future of town, or?
We have. We found people that are very receptive, and I must be honest, I think that I'm a little spoiled in that department, that I have an incredibly fun team.
It can make all the difference.
Yes. Yeah. So we take, the task of door knocking, which is labor intensive, and they make it fun, they make it enjoyable, they make it something that we're excited to go do. And my canvassing experience before has been out in the West Coast in Vegas. So it's really exciting to come canvass in Framingham.
Excellent. So the time that we had set aside always goes by faster than one can imagine. I like to end every interview by asking people, what is it about Framingham that makes it not only the town that we've chosen to make home, but by putting yourself out there running for mayor, there must be something more about Framingham than just a fine place that maybe we would have ended up. That I'm eager to know, what is it? What is it about Framingham that has led you to put yourself out there in such a way?
Well, I have such a personal connection with Framingham. Framingham is where I became an American. And I've traveled in other parts of the U.S. Framingham truly represents everything that I find so wonderful about the United States. It's a great place. We have 9 districts. They are, very diverse. We have different pockets of the population. And it's so amazing that they can be woven together in this beautiful community. It makes me proud to be here, to be an advocate for Framingham. Framingham also has a very strong history. We have a foothold in American history. So why not be proud of Framingham? Why not advocate for it?
Excellent. Well, you're 100% right. Framingham is a microcosm of the United States. It's a microcosm of the world. It's one of the reasons I love living here and representing it on Beacon Hill. Thank you so much for Priscilla for coming on the show. For those of you watching at home, I invite you to take the next couple weeks and months to look into all the candidates. They've all been invited to be on the program, and I hope to continue these conversations with them. They are putting themselves out there in the community. You'll see them at concerts on Fridays, and look out your front window because they'll probably be there in the weeks ahead. I invite you to stay tuned as I invite another guest to join me here in moments. Thank you, and thank you.